The internet from 2014 to 2015 was quite an interesting time. We had the Ice Bucket Challenge, which I refused to participate in, but it was for a good cause, so there's that. Then also Kim Kardashian's butt broke the internet, and Instagram also exploded in popularity, becoming the second most popular social media app in the world. It was just one of those moments where you just had to be there. And there's so many trends to go over, I can't even go through all of them, but with the growth of Instagram, another trend started to grow as well, and it was quite concerning. It was the IG baddie trend. This aesthetic really had the girls in a chokehold because if you weren't an IG baddie in 2015 or 2014 or even 2016, what were you doing with your life? We saw a lot of celebrities embracing this aesthetic, which further contributed to its popularity among the younger population. There are so many tutorials on how to dress like an IG baddie, how to act like one, how to do your makeup like one, because makeup was a big part of the whole aesthetic. The baddie look is characterized by attractive and bold styles that are often associated with a curvy figure, full lips, and heavy makeup. And I know that was quite a broad definition. Don't worry, I'm gonna go more into depth on what it means to be a baddie, but just think of Kylie Jenner from 2015 to 2018 or 2019. If you are having a hard time picturing what a baddie is, just think of that for now. And I'm not saying that Kylie is like the ultimate baddie, the it girl, whatever. I'm not saying that. She's just one of the most popular, so that's why I used her as an example. Because I know on Instagram when I put Kylie Jenner on my poll, y'all were like, she's not a baddie, she's not a baddie, she's not a baddie. Just hold up a little bit. She was the not most popular, but one of the most popular. So now if we fast forward to 2024, it's quite evident that the baddie culture does not have a strong grip on us like it used to. It's still there, but more aesthetics are starting to be praised more, and we're seeing a lot of celebrities start to embrace different aesthetics, such as the clean girl aesthetic, quiet luxury, or just minimalism. We are moving away from the super curvy BBL baddie look, the extremely caked face, and the dressing like a Fashion Nova model. Less is starting to become more, and I'll be honest, I'm happy because I'm not really into the baddie aesthetic. Let me not say I don't like it. If you think about it, the baddie fashion look was mostly associated with women who had the BBL bodies, and because their bodies were considered desirable at the time, it didn't matter what they wore. As long as they had a nice body, people thought it was fashion, they thought it was cute, and they thought it was trendy. I will say though that the baddie aesthetic is not as popular as it once was, so now we have people scrambling to reduce their curves, ditching the over-the-top makeup, and embracing a more natural look, even though it's really not that natural in the first place. But the biggest problem that the baddie culture has left us with is 30-year-old teenagers. That might not make sense now, but it will make sense as I go throughout this video. So think of this video as a continuation of my if you're under 18 you should not look like this video, because I was rewatching it. I'm surprised I even was able to rewatch it despite all the cringiness, but I rewatched it and I realized that I could have gone way harder. So this video, we're gonna go harder. And we are gonna talk about the baddie aesthetic to be specific, because this is really one of the major roots of this problem. It was a problem then and it's still a problem now, so we're gonna talk about it. Just because the baddie aesthetic is not as popular as it once was, there are still many women who continue to benefit from this aesthetic. And there also are a lot of minors and baby adults who continue to sexualize themselves and get rewarded for doing so. So we have a lot to talk about in today's video, so buckle up because it's gonna be a big one. Let's just get into it, child. But before we get into this mess, child, I have a question for you. Have you been bombarded with a bunch of phone calls within a single day? I'm talking like every 2.5 seconds a new number is calling you and you don't even know where these numbers are coming from. Well, that has been my experience these last couple of weeks, and I don't even know where these numbers are coming from. I'm so tempted to answer the phone and be like, yo, what's good? I tried blocking these numbers, but new ones would randomly pop up every time without fail. Like the last call I got was from San Francisco. I don't know anybody in San Francisco. So instead of squaring up with these random people calling my phone, I decided to turn to today's video sponsor, Aura. Our phone numbers and other sensitive information can easily be leaked online. In fact, AT&T discovered that over 70 million users' social security numbers were found on the dark web. And this shook me to my core because your social security number is very important. I'm not trying to have that on the internet for anyone to see, and I'm sure you don't either. Girl, before they take your identity, like, we don't have time for that. But have no fear, because Aura has been a huge help as it provides valuable insights into which data brokers are selling your personal information and automatically submits opt-out requests on your behalf to protect your privacy. Aura gives me alerts if any of my sensitive information has been compromised, and also gives me fraud alerts if any of these weirdos try to use my data to access my credit or bank accounts. Inflation is at an all-time high right now. We do not have time for people to be accessing our bank accounts. But Aura does so much more than just protecting your sensitive information. fashion. It also has the VPN, transaction monitoring, antivirus, password manager, identity theft insurance, and parental controls at an affordable price. Y'all, the internet is not going anywhere, so let's do what we can do to protect ourselves online. You can visit aura.com/nksworld, which is pinned in the comment down below and also in the description box, to start your 2-week free trial today. Take charge of your digital security. Your online protection starts today. But anyways, let's get into this messy video. Ciao. Part 1. What is the baddie culture? To kick this video off, let's start with an in-depth explanation of the baddie aesthetic, since it is the focus of today's video. It's a phenomenon that has taken the digital world by storm and left a lasting imprint on contemporary fashion and beauty standards, especially on the impressionable youth. Whether you've seen it on Instagram, TikTok, or across various social media platforms, the baddie aesthetic is hard to miss. In this section, we'll break down what baddie culture really is, its origins, and why it has become such a powerful force in modern society. Let's get into it. The baddie aesthetic actually dates back to the early 2010s when it emerged on the internet as a distinct subculture of fashion and style. Rooted in urban street style and hip-hop culture, the baddie aesthetic merged elements of sporty fashion with glamorous and edgy touches. It was a blend of relaxed yet provocative clothing, characterized by crop tops, cargo pants, chunky sneakers, bodycon dresses, and really just anything that showed off your curves. The look was all about making a statement, providing comfort with sex appeal in a way that was supposed to look effortless, but it was actually meticulously curated. Social media platforms, especially Instagram, played a crucial role in spreading the baddie aesthetic. The visual nature of these platforms allowed influencers and beauty gurus to showcase their interpretations of style, which in turn inspired a global following. Hashtags like baddie became essential to creating content, allowing users to connect to those who share the same aesthetic sensibilities. If you go on Instagram, you're gonna see that the baddie hashtag has over 5 million posts, and it probably had way more, but you know, Instagram loves to delete pictures randomly, so there's that. And there's also many different variations of this hashtag, such as baddie edits, baddie outfits, baddie nails, baddie audios, whatever you name it. I can assure you that there is a hashtag for how to be a baddie. You know, it's also funny too, when I was searching a baddie on Instagram, tell me why I was seeing a bunch of booties just like clapping. I saw a bunch of cheeks clapping on my feed and I was like, wait, is this what it means to be a baddie? Actually, I'm not surprised though, but I'm just surprised that Instagram allows that. Because have you noticed Instagram is so picky? Like, they'll suspend your account for such a stupid reason, but then there's people who are literally half naked on the app and they have a following of over 1 million. Does that make sense? Like, y'all be picking and choosing who you want on the app. Like, just say you're racist. The rise of this trend was further propelled by important cultural figures like Rihanna and Ariana Grande, who really embraced it during her 7 Rings era. A lot of people have called Ariana out though for culture appropriation during this time. And y'all said that Drake be switching his accent, but I don't think you've heard Ariana be switching her accent. Let me show you.
I'm like, bitch, that's my cookie, that's my juice, okay? Thank you, next. That's what this baby picture says. The dancing scene in this video was actually inspired by Sweet Charity and the wardrobe. You know, I love my MAC lipstick. This is the MAC I'm here to talk about today, girl. Come on. Kill me, get your ass in here. Come on, girl.
Did y'all peep the accent change? Because I know you peeped it. But I'm not about to get into Miss Ariana Grande. Last time I even mentioned her name, her stans were ready to fight me. So, you know, I'll sit this one out for now. Anyways, I would say the biggest figures who have made this aesthetic popular and mainstream was the Kardashians. And to be specific, I would say Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner. And also Khloe Kardashian too. But they often embody the baddie look in their public appearances and social media posts. And if we focus on Kylie for a second, there are so many pictures of her in figure-hugging bodysuits that show off her curves. Her hair is long and sleeved down, like the body is bodying. Like, during this time, Kylie was definitely establishing herself as the IG baddie. And as I said, she was very popular, so she did help popularize the style and just make it mainstream. Because like the real baddies, like the previous baddies, like if we're gonna talk about baddies, which we're gonna talk about later, but like let's say Blac Chyna, like she was popular, but the Kardashians just made it more popular and mainstream. So Kylie's endorsement, along with the other ladies I mentioned, helped to solidify the baddie aesthetic as a mainstream popular aesthetic. It became more than just a social media trend. In fact, it evolved into a significant influence on the fashion industry. These ladies ladies' influence made this style a go-to look for many, bridging the gap between online trends and real-world fashion, and leaving a lasting impact on how beauty and style are perceived. I am not saying that the Kardashians started the baddie aesthetic, because that would be incorrect. It would be a lie. It was all a lie, guys. I'm telling you, it was all a lie. I don't know who exactly started it, but I do know for a fact that the baddie aesthetic originated in Black and Hispanic communities. Urban fashion in the 2000s was all about a baggier fit. The focus was more on the overall vibe and style rather than the body shape. However, the baddie aesthetic in the 2010s shifted this focus dramatically. It became all about showcasing your body, particularly with the rise of cosmetic enhancements like the BBL. In this aesthetic, the clothing itself was secondary to the body it was draped on. As long as you had that hourglass figure, that like doop doop, like that, you know, the hourglass figure, as long as you had it, you were considered a baddie, just because like your body fit the ideal body type that was praised in the baddie aesthetic. I talked about this in my previous video where I said that the BBL culture is dying down. And since the BBL culture is synonymous with the baddie aesthetic, I would say the baddie aesthetic is dying out too, but I feel like the baddie aesthetic is just changing. I don't know if it's necessarily dying out, but I feel like people are not really mesmerized by it as much. They don't really care for it as much. Like a lot of girls have to incorporate different aesthetics into their look to be considered different or just more interesting. Let's take Meg Thee Stallion for example. So she definitely does have that baddie look, the baddie aesthetic. However, I feel like people are over that baddie aesthetic, like the, you know, I'm gonna F your man, get money, blah, blah, blah. Like they're kind of over that because like that has just been done out for such a long time. So it's interesting to see that her song with, I can't say his name, Yuki, you know her song Mamushi Watashi wa Sta, like that song, like it has a different aesthetic to it, a different vibe. So I feel like that's also a reason why it popped off compared to her other songs. But the beat's a little bit different. Also, like she's incorporating Japanese culture into the song as well. So I feel like all those reasons made it stand out. Does that make sense? It does make sense, period. And also a lot of the women that I mentioned earlier do not embrace the baddie aesthetic at all anymore. Kylie does not, Kim, not really. Ariana, not at all. Like a lot of people who used to embrace it so freely don't embrace it as much anymore. I mean, it's because they don't have to anymore. They got their popularity, they're popular now, they're solidified, so they don't have to act urban to get popular. Because let's be honest, embracing this aesthetic when it was hot, when it was at its peak, like at its height of popularity, was smart for a lot of these women because they were able to appeal to a more urban audience while also still appealing to their core audience or a non-urban audience. Because, you know, they could go back and forth, you know, because they weren't Black, but they could appeal to like the urban side by adopting these mannerisms to be considered hip, cool, or yeah, just like hip. And that's why I like Taylor Swift, because despite anything, despite any aesthetic or whatever, she stayed true to herself. Like she remained who she was. Like Taylor's not like a baddie. That's great. Like she did not change her accent. She did not tan herself 10 shades darker to be considered trendy. She just stayed herself and period. Now look, she's one of the biggest artists in the world. In fact, maybe I should buy her ticket to her concert right now because yeah, I'm happy that she stayed true to herself. Anyways, let's dive deep into what actually makes you a baddie because there are so many aspects to it. So let's get into it. Yeah. At the heart of the baddie aesthetic is makeup. Lots of it. The baddie look is all about a full face glam featuring heavily contoured cheeks, sculpted brows, dramatic winged liner, and voluminous lashes. Kim Kardashian was literally known as the contour queen during this time. I believe she was even selling contour products, so she was definitely capitalizing on the hype of the baddie look. Also, we cannot forget about the IG brows. Like, oh my god. I used to think the IG brows were so cool, but when I look back, I'm just like, they were doing a lot. They definitely needed to pipe down because it was giving scary. I wanted IG brows so badly though when I was younger, but I just had no concept of makeup and like my face, so I would fill it in and it would just not look cute. Like it was not giving what it's supposed to give. And I never knew you had to shape your eyebrows before doing makeup. I literally would let my eyebrows grow. I didn't pluck it, I didn't shave nothing. I just let it grow and I would try to fill it in, and I would think that concealer, like if I concealed underneath, it would look good, but girl, I look crazy. Like yeah, I thought I was looking cute, but realistically my eyebrows needed some plucking immediately. Also, highlighted cheekbones, perfectly lined lips, and a matte or glossy finish completed the baddie look. The goal was to achieve a face that looks airbrushed and camera ready at all times, which if you think about it is impossible to have. Fashion in baddie culture is meant to make a statement and accentuate curves. So think figure hugging dresses, crop tops paired with high-waisted jeans that blends comfort with sex appeal. And the sex appeal part of this aesthetic is my issue, but I'm gonna talk about that later. Clothes that emphasize the hour hourglass silhouette has become synonymous with the baddie aesthetic, and brands like Fashion Nova have capitalized on this trend, offering affordable yet trendy pieces that cater to the baddie market. I even wanted to make a video on Fashion Nova and how they influenced the way women were dressing during the 2010s, because they definitely were quite influential and all that. So maybe I'll make that, I don't know, but cheap. But Fashion Nova was able to make the baddie aesthetic accessible to the masses because their prices were cheap and so was the quality. And when I think of Fashion Nova, I think of their most popular model. I believe her name is Jodie Jo. Well, her actual name is Jodie, and she is known for having crazy proportions. She has a super slim waist and wide hips, which was and still is seen as desirable. But she was the poster girl for Fashion Nova, and she even became so popular to the point where she actually collaborated with the brand and created her own line. I looked at her clothing line with Fashion Nova, and it was cute, but it wasn't really anything revolutionary, and I'm sure the quality of the clothes will match the price of the clothes. It's also funny too because there is a running joke about Jodie Jo. They're like, don't buy any clothes that you see her modeling because her proportions are crazy, so it's not gonna fit you the same way it fits her, so don't buy it. The ideal baddie body is curvaceous, and this is typically achieved through surgery such as a BBL, hip fillers, whatever you name it, but a lot of women do have this figure naturally. But it's funny because the ones who had to get a cosmetic surgery to get this body type are or were the most popular baddies. And also, can I say how problematic it is to have a body type as an aesthetic? This aesthetic also further tied the idea that Black women naturally have big booties, like this is a natural shape for a lot of us, but if you have common sense, you know that not every Black lady got a big booty. The emphasis on this body shape has influenced countless of women to try to acquire this look, whether it's through fashion choices or just getting cosmetics procedures. But also, it's just very interesting to see that a lot of people now are reversing their surgeries. I mentioned this in my previous video. They're reversing their booties, their boobies, all of that. They're reversing it because it's no longer considered trendy. That's something else we gotta talk about. But before we talk about that, let's talk about how hairstyles as well are super important in the baddie aesthetic. Hairstyles in the baddie aesthetic are sleek and often long, flowy hair. The hair can be straightened, curled, or styled into high ponytails. Also, wigs, extensions, and braids are common, allowing for versatility and the ability to change looks frequently. The two cornrows look too was very popular as well, and I swear it got more attention whenever Kylie, Kim, or Chloe would wear the hairstyle because people would call them out for culture appropriation. And at this point, when you look back, you just realize that the Kardashians used culture appropriation or rage baiting as a marketing tool, and y'all fell for it every single time. But after a while, I was like, girl, I do not care. Like, if these people wear cornrows or whatever, I do not care. It's literally just to market whatever they need to market, and then we're gonna forget about it the next second. But the most important part of your IG baddie hairstyle was your edges, your baby hair. The way you laid your baby hairs elevated your hairstyle. It just made it look like a bad gal look. And I wanted to be bad gal NK, so I tried to, even to this day, I be trying to lay my edges, and they last for 2.5 seconds, and they shrivel up again. So at this point, I'm tired. Like, I don't know what more I have to do. Beyond the physical attributes, the baddie culture also thrives on social media. The baddie persona is carefully crafted through curated Instagram feeds, perfectly posed selfies, and a consistent online presence that reflects a glamorous lifestyle. Baddies are posting getting their nails done, what new clothes they got, and if they really got money, they're posting up their new cars. Like, it's a very glamorous lifestyle. The baddie lifestyle was associated with bouginess and luxury, which fit perfectly into the Kardashian brand because they got a lot of money, so they're able to have the baddie lifestyle that's created on Instagram because they can afford to have elaborate birthday parties. They have their Christmas party every year that's super huge. They travel the world. They have closets that are as big as my house. They got the money. Well, they do have the money to have this lifestyle, and that's why they were also so successful with promoting the baddie aesthetic, because they got the money to back it up. The baddie persona is about projecting confidence, independence, and an aspirational way of life, often blurring the lines between reality and the edited, filtered world of social media, which makes this aesthetic even more problematic and unrealistic. Like, the lifestyle is crafted to the T. People, before they post, they have so much time to edit their photo or just to take the best possible photo to make sure that, I don't know, it looks like they're on a private plane when they're actually not, or they're just renting out the seats. Like, you never really know. So you just have to be very careful when you go on social media not to compare yourself to other people, because life can be easily curated by a feed, like an Instagram feed, especially the baddie aesthetic. A lot of y'all baddies, y'all don't got the funds to back it up. But if we went on your Instagram, we would think that you guys are like business owners of like multiple successful businesses, because it seems like you live a very lavish lifestyle. Realistically, you're probably just renting half those things. Instagram really brought this aesthetic to life and inspired millions of young women to emulate this look with hopes that they'll blow up and become an Instagram model or just have the lifestyle that these baddies have. I also want to mention too that a lot of the popping male rappers, baby mamas or girlfriends emulated this look. We had Ari Fletcher, who was with G Herbo, and Jada Waiter, who was with Lil Baby. Both ladies are extremely well off and radiate baddie energy. From their hair to their body to their career, everything just screams baddie. They were not as mainstream as the Kardashians at the height of the baddie epidemic, but still influential nonetheless. It felt like if you wanted to capture any of these male rappers' attention, you had to look like Ari or Jada. And if you wanted to live how these ladies were living, then you had to look like a baddie, which of course influenced many women to seek out this aesthetic so they could live like Jada and Ari. Like their man was spoiling them, they looked like they had a lot of money, like they were cool, like that's the lifestyle that a lot of people crave to have. I mean, who wouldn't want a partner that is extremely wealthy to the point where you don't have to work, or you can at least follow your dreams and not have to worry about the financial struggles because your person got money? A lot of y'all would want that, like don't lie. You are not brought on this earth to suffer. So as you can see, the baddie aesthetic popped off on Instagram and was closely tied to BBL culture and just plastic surgery in general, and it influenced millions of young women, including myself. I tried to be a baddie, I really tried, but it just wasn't working because the funds weren't there, the looks weren't there, the makeup skills weren't there, the hair wasn't there too. So yeah, it just never worked out. But at least I tried. A for effort. Baby, I don't necessarily hate the baddie aesthetic, but I don't love it for sure, and I strongly dislike it because it came and left us with 30-year-old teenagers. So let's talk about that. Part 2. The impact of baddie culture on the youth. It's no secret that the baddie aesthetic makes you look older. The emphasis on excessive surgery, makeup, and elaborate hairstyles plays a crucial role in making you look older, well, depending on your age, of course. When you appear polished and like you have your life together, it naturally adds years to your look, because we typically don't expect younger people to have such a refined appearance. I certainly did not look polished when I was younger, but as they say, you grow and you learn. But where do we draw the line of looking and acting too grown? This aesthetic is being celebrated when we actually need to stop and reflect why we are celebrating minors or barely legal women over sexualizing themselves. Let's talk. Tangali is a social media influencer and content creator who has gained popularity on TikTok. She became well known for her dance videos, lip syncs, and comedic content, and also her curly hair. She has amassed 7 million followers on TikTok and 1 million on Instagram. So she's quite popular, and she does have a YouTube channel as well. I believe she has over 100K now, maybe. Probably does. But if you look at what she posts, it is quite concerning because her poses are sexually suggestive, and she is only 17 years old. Where are the parents? And what makes everything worse is the fact that she turned 17 years old this year. So most of the pictures that I'm showing or the footage is from when she was like 15, 16, like it's not good. It's quite concerning that she is able to post that type of content as a minor. But if you look at her posts, it's clear to see that she does embody the baddie aesthetic. Her hair is always done, she got them baby hairs late, her outfits are figure hugging, and her nails are done, okay? So yeah, I would consider her baddie. She fits into the aesthetic. However, she's 17 years old. She is a minor, and she's already resorting to sexualizing herself to get popularity and to, you know, have a career. And it is working because she is getting praised and rewarded by the people around her. It's just really disheartening for me to see young girls feel the need to have to sexualize themselves in order to get attention. Would we actually want to do it? Like, if I'm not her age though, but like when you grow up and you kind of look back, you're like, did I actually want to show my body in that way? Did I actually want to pose that way? Did I actually like being treated like an object? No, like the answer would be no, because no one actually wants that. But that's kind of like a whole discussion. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. And when I say that she's getting rewarded, she has been able to grow her accounts to have millions of followers based on this baddie look. And it it is disheartening because it's just her objectifying herself. And with millions of followers, you can make great money. So she's probably making pretty good money. So she is being rewarded for the behavior that she's doing. And also even Miss Ice Spice is rewarding this girl. In fact, the way I found out about Aya Tangali is through Ice Spice, because Ice Spice had a music video for her song Deli. Yeah, I believe it was Deli. And Aya was in the background twerking in the music video. Why on earth would y'all have a 16-year-old in your music video scene, like the set? It's already not for a 16-year-old. So why do you have her twerking in your music video? Like, this type of behavior should not be normalized or rewarded in young girls. Like, I just hate this idea of pushing like to be super sexual on young girls. Like, that's the only thing we have to offer. That's the only thing they want to do, because it's not. But if you go on the internet, you see a lot of young girls who go that route getting rewarded, and it's financially, with popularity, like just different ways of getting rewarded. And it is unfortunate because let's push something else. Y'all, just please stop rewarding this type of behavior, because when it's rewarded, it's continued, and we do not need a cycle of girls who keep doing this. Like, yes, it's always gonna happen, but the baddie aesthetic really heightened this, because being a baddie was all about being hot, curvaceous, looking good, being confident. And yes, the confidence is an important aspect of it, but all the other aspects were just so unrealistic and just so objectifying, to the point where it is not a good aesthetic for a young woman to aspire to fit into. The baddie aesthetic specifically promotes the idea of using your looks and body as a way to make money or get attention. And the truth is that sex sells. Like, I do understand that, but this message should not be promoted to minors whose brain is barely developed yet. In general, I do hate the overt sexuality that is pushed down our faces as mainstream. Being sexual, being hot is literally the main thing. And I just want to say too, I've said this before, that I'm not like a super modest person. I'm not a grandma. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, everyone has to be covered up to the T. Like, that's not who I am, but it hurts me even more to see minors in particular emulating this aesthetic, thinking that it's cool, that it's cute. It's really not, especially when you don't really understand what you're doing. It's really not. And I'm not saying to be covered from head to toe and cover your body. Like, girl, I'm not gonna do that. There's a time and a place for everything. And I just don't like the idea how we promote this Jezebel stereotype to the masses, to a bunch of young women. Like, confidence does not need to equate you to being naked. Like, let's keep it a stack. You can show your confidence in so much different areas, not just through your body. And that's what's being promoted, and that's what I don't like, especially in the baddie aesthetic. But even if we're not talking about the baddie aesthetic in general, it definitely is still a problem. And the people who do promote this in their music, I still listen to it, because there's definitely a time and a place for everything. Yeah, if you want to go twerk, go twerk. Like, I'm not saying not to, but there's just levels to it. And when you make your whole brand your body, to me, that is just I guess disheartening to see, because we're so much more than that. We are just so much more than our bodies. I say we like I'm the same age as Aya, but I'm not the same age as her though. But I can relate to doing dumb stuff when I was 17 years old, things that I probably should not have done because I thought that's what people wanted to see, and that's what the older people were doing. So I can relate to that. That's why I'm really not into it. I'm not gonna say what I did because my parents watch these videos, but just like, it wasn't cute stuff. And you honestly, you live and you learn and you grow. I'm still young though, so I am still learning, still growing, but I'm just not into the overt sexuality pushed in our faces. There's a time and a place for all that. There are a lot of girls like Aya out there, and Alabama Barker is definitely one of them. She might even be the most popular out of all of them. I talked about her in my "If You're Under 18, You Should Not Look Like This" video, because at the time she was a minor, but now she is 18 years old. So she's not a minor anymore, but like 17, 18, really, what's the difference? Like, you still can't drink. So, and from the age 17 to 18, your frontal lobe, which is the part of your brain responsible for decision making and impulse control, is still developing. So you're not always making the best choices. I'll tell you right now for a fact, when I was 17, I was not making smart choices. Like, I wasn't stupid though, but I definitely, there's some things I cringe at. I'm like, did I really, should I have done that? No, but you live and you learn. The baddie aesthetic as a whole should not be an aesthetic that minors are embodying. Sure, there are ways to do it that are kid appropriate, but we don't see it. They're not the ones being pushed in our faces. It's the ones who are bending over and posing with their tongue out. That's what we're seeing. At the young age of 16, 17, or even 18, there's no way young women actually want to objectify themselves to millions of people. Like, it's one thing to think you're cute, like with your friends, like going to a little Halloween party and stuff. Like, to me, that's different. But like, to millions of people and making that your whole brand, that is quite concerning. When Alabama looked the way she looked before, where she was just like a normal girl or whatever, no one was really checking for her. It wasn't until she became a certified baddie that she started getting more attention. People started talking about her and noticing her. And this is the same thing with Kylie too. Kylie, before all the surgeries, no one really paid much attention to her, but after she got these cosmetic enhancements, started dating Tyga, and embodied the baddie aesthetic, that's when she got way more attention and was able to build almost $1 billion empire based on her looks alone. But speaking of Kylie dating Tyga, that relationship was hella problematic when you think about it. Because apparently they started dating when she was 17 and he was 24 years old. Although I did see some reports that said that they met when Kylie was 16 years old, so if that's the case, that's even worse. Dating a 17-year-old at your big age of 24 is so weird. Because can we think about it? At my age, I'm not 24 though, my age is a mystery, but at my age, I would never even consider talking to someone who is 16 or 17 years old. What the hell would I have in common with them? Like, just let me know. We are at two different places in our lives. I can't understand that. That is really odd, especially at the age of 24 to be interested in a 17-year-old. The 7-year age gap itself is not an issue. I don't think that's a problem, but the fact that she is 17 and he's 24, that's the issue. Plus, she is considered a minor, so by law, like, that's already wrong. Being 30, dating a 37-year-old, that's whatever. As long as y'all's frontal lobes are developed, there shouldn't be an issue. But 17 and 24 is odd. But since we're on the topic of relationships, let's keep on going. The baddie aesthetic does not only objectify young girls, but also promotes this toxic hood love romance type-ish, if you know what I mean. Let me break it down for you. So Kylie, she's known for dating Tyga and Travis Scott. Like right now she's with Timothy Chalamet, I believe, but like during the baddie aesthetic time, she was with Tyga and Travis Scott. Kylie dating Tyga was already an issue because he's way too old for her. 17 and 24, disgusting. But at the age of 17, dating an older guy seems cool, especially when they're a popular rapper and they have like street cred or whatever. It's appealing at that age because you're like, wow, like they're so cool, like, and he wants me, like I must be so cool. Baby, no. If a man is in his 20s seeking out a teenager, or in fact any age, 20s, 30s, whatever, seeking out a teenager, you're weird. He's not cool, sis. He's weird. As for Travis Scott, there have been some allegations that he did cheat on Kylie, but I don't believe anything has been confirmed. But either way, they never gave me like relationship goals in the first place. But I wouldn't be surprised if he actually did cheat on her. Then we also had Jada, Wada, and Lil Baby. And I don't even know if I can call their relationship a relationship because it was on and off. And honestly, it's hard to keep up with, to be honest. But there were a lot of cheating allegations and they do have a son together, but it was just very much toxic and it was a mess. No relationship goals there whatsoever. There's a lot of relationships that I could talk about, but the one that has been recently pissing me off a lot is Bad Baby and her new boo or whatever, her baby daddy. Her situation pisses me off even more because she's so young, she's only 21, and she already has a kid and this toxic man. Why do y'all keep bringing kids into this toxic environment? It's not cute. Please like sort out your issues before you bring a child into this earth. But let me just give you a quick rundown. Bad Baby is the girl who went viral for saying, "Catch me outside, how about it?" on the Dr. Phil show. So after that, she became viral, she embarked on a rap career, then she became rich and famous, and I don't know what she's doing right now. So about a month ago, she accused her baby daddy of assaulting her and she posted the footage to her Instagram story. And she also showed us her injuries. After she made the allegations public, she did express that she still loves him and revealed that he was seeking help for his issues. She did downplay the severity of the abuse, stating that it wasn't a frequent occurrence, but acknowledged that he needed to take accountability and make real changes. However, their relationship continues to be volatile. Days after being spotted together in Beverly Hills, Bad Baby accused him of being a gold digger in a social media post. And in the next photo she posted, they were looking in love. So it's very just a toxic environment and toxic relationship. I've never been in a situation like this in my life, and God forbid I will ever go through it. But I do understand that it is hard to leave abusive relationships, but it's really sad to see because she is young, only 21, and she already has a kid in this toxic environment. So she's with this man for life because they have a kid together. These types of toxic relationships should not be normalized, but this hood gangsta love romance is what's praised in the baddie aesthetic. You get cool points for being associated with these influential men in urban spaces. This even connects to the baby mama and baby daddy culture. Well, I don't know if I would say that the baddie aesthetic promotes the baby mama or baby daddy culture. Let me know, do you think it promotes that? Like, I feel like it's closely aligned though, because a lot of these rappers, baby mamas, they are considered baddies. So That's some food for thought. The baddie culture overall does not promote healthy, normal relationships. They promote toxicity, and that itself is an issue. I don't think I need to really elaborate on that. And what's even worse is that kids are being popped out left, center, and right like it's nothing. Like kids are purses, like that's what it feels like. And that's even more of an issue because when you have a kid, you're bonded together for life. So you have that shared responsibility of taking care of that kid. So that's why I will never understand why people think marriage is a big deal, but having a kid is not. With marriage, at least you can get married, divorce, move on with your life. But if you have a kid, like you're tied together for life. So I don't understand why y'all think that a baby is less of a commitment than marriage. I remember this guy I was talking to last year, I believe. I actually talked about him in my aging video, and he told me that he does not want to get married, but he wants 6 to 7 kids. Does that make sense? So you don't want to get married, you don't want to propose to your girl, but you want her to bear 6 to 7 children? Like, and he's like, yeah, it has to be all natural, no surrogacy, no nothing. Like, I was like, yeah, this man's on crack because it's not me and you. Before I get into the last problematic issue with the baddie aesthetic, I want to read y'all's opinion on this issue because, as always, I went on Instagram to ask you guys what's the tea, like what is the tea, what is the facts? So let me read what you guys have to say. First question is, do you think the baddie aesthetic is dying? 30% said yes, 25% said no, it's still popping, 45% said kinda. I expected more yeses, not even gonna lie, just because I don't see like the main people promoting the baddie aesthetic. But if you go online, you still do see the aesthetic. One of my friends actually swiped up, so I wanted to read what she said as well. This topic comes up at least once a year. It's so jarring. People pretend like these things are going out and then it never falls through. I will say though, a lot of the people that had us getting these injections and fillers in the first place are becoming mothers, and because of that, they're taking their health seriously. I think all that has to happen is the new generation of baddies step in and carry the torch. The baddies will not die. According to her, the baddies will not die. So she does have a point. Everyone's growing up, they gotta do their things, they're mothers, so they're trying to, you know, take care of their children. But I guess we could say the new baddies are Alabama, Jodie Woods, Bad Baby, Aya, Tangali. Like, I guess they're the new baddies, even though half of them are minors. Next question is, when you think of baddie, who do you think of? I gave y'all 4 options, and it was Cardi B, Jada Sheaves, Amber Rose, and Kylie Jenner. Cardi B was the winner with 52% of y'all voting for her, and Jada was second. There are so many baddies to choose from, but I just wanted to keep my list to 4 people. So I asked you guys, I'm like, if there's any other baddie you can think of, just, you know, send me a message and let's see like who I'm missing. A lot of y'all did mention Ari Fletcher, and I did want to include her, but I just did not have space. So it was Ari Fletcher. Also got a lot of Natalie Nuns. Who else did I get? Oh, Black China as well. I got Black China quite a bit. And I also got SZA, and I was like, really? Like, SZA's cute, but I don't know if I would consider her like a baddie, like a baddie. You know what I mean? Like, when I think of baddie, like SZA does not come to my head. Okay, next question is, what role do you think social media platforms like Instagram have played in popularizing the baddie aesthetic? So this was a close one, but the answer was they've been crucial in spreading the trend. This was definitely more of the obvious answer because the baddie look is sometimes called the Instagram baddie look or the IG baddie look. So as you can see, it's already closely tied with social media in general. So when you think about it, social media has been very influential in making the baddie aesthetic a prominent aesthetic in the mainstream. And the last question was, do you think the baddie aesthetic has a positive or negative impact on young girls? So the 2 major answers were negative. There's a strong pressure to conform. The other one was neutral. It depends how it's interpreted. For those who answer negative, it's clear that many of you see the darker side of the baddie aesthetic. The emphasis on specific beauty standards can create a toxic environment where young girls feel pressure to meet an often unattainable ideal. This can lead to issues with self-esteem, body image, and even prompt drastic measures like cosmetic surgery at a young age. It's a reflection on how powerful societal influence can be, especially when it's broadcasted on social media 24/7. On the other hand, a lot of you chose neutral, depends how it's interpreted. And this response also highlights an interesting point. The baddie aesthetic isn't necessarily good or bad. For some, it's a way to express creativity, confidence, and individuality. But the impact it has on young girls really comes down to how it's presented and perceived. If the focus is on self-love and empowerment without the need for extreme measures, it could be seen as a positive influence. However, when it turns into a competition or a means to fit in, it can quickly become harmful. But as always, thank you so much for participating in these polls. I appreciate your opinions, y'all be giving me the tea and I love the tea. So if you ever want to be in a video and get your opinion out there, make sure you go on Instagram so you can always be ready to catch the next poll, period. So the last issue I wanted to talk about is materialism, which is a rampant problem in the baddie aesthetic. Listen, money is nice. Being able to afford quality items and just have a good life is very nice, and it's crucial to having a good life for sure. But the baddie aesthetic definitely overdoes it. A lot of baddies like to flex the clothes they have, their jewelry, their lifestyle, really anything to be honest. And this does promote a culture of materialism, flexing, and hustling. We always see the baddies on vacation, getting their nails done, their hair done, or their man is gifting them a bust down for their birthday or something. The baddie lifestyle is full of flexing, materialism, and fast money. While most of the poppin' baddies got stable money because their man actually makes money or they actually make money, for the majority or a lot of people, y'all money is fast money. It's not actual stability, it's not stability. It's just scam, scam, scam and go, because you're so concerned with flexing that you're not actually trying to create a good financial situation for yourself in the future. You would be surprised at how many people scam their way to afford the lifestyles that they have. Please don't believe everything you see on the gram. I cannot tell you guys how many times people are scamming out here and you don't even know. You think their life is amazing, they got money, but no, whole time
it was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
they might be flexing a $5,000 purse or a $5,000 belt on the gram, but the whole time they only have $5 in their bank account. Make it make sense. It's funny too, because this actually reminds me of a guy who I used to talk to. And when I say talk, I don't even consider talking because it was for such a short period of time. But what had happened is that I posted a story of myself on Instagram, then he swiped up complimenting me, and I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. And then we just continued the conversation from there, and he was like, you're so beautiful, I would love to take you out sometime. And he was saying that he wanted to take me to all these expensive ass places. The restaurants were expensive, the activities were expensive, it was just very expensive. And I was like, damn. So you got money to spend that. But when I went on his page to stalk him, he was already not my type because it was just full of flexing. You know when they have money spread out on their hand, I don't have money right now, but they have money spread out, they got money like this, they spread it out on their hand. He was that type of person, flexing too much, flexing their chains, their belts, not my type at all. So he was just doing too much flexing and too much talking. So I was like, yeah, sure, this is not gonna work, but you know when you're like, whatever, I'll just talk to talk, and eventually it's gonna fizzle out, right? So that was the team. But then he started actually planning the dates. He was like, yeah, this day, August 27, we're gonna go out, do this. I was like, you know what? It would be nice to just go to an expensive restaurant and not have to pay. So I was like, whatever. And before you say I'm using him for money, no, I honestly did not care. He was nice enough to go out with. So I was like, okay, I don't mind going out with him. We had nice conversations, but he was just flexing too much. And that's what I didn't like. That's really the only reason why I was like, I don't really care for him, but a free meal is a free meal. So I'm gonna take it.
No, I know that's right.
But as time went on, he stopped replying, and honestly, I didn't think much of it. I don't really care. Men love to go, so it's honestly nothing new to me. So I didn't care. I went on with my life. But then a while after, a month after, maybe even a year after, he hits me up and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry for not getting back to you. They got me. I was like, who got you? What? He was like, the feds, they got me. The feds got you. I was like, wait a damn minute. So turns out this man went to jail for scamming or trapping, something like that. That's why he didn't contact me for almost a year. And he wanted to rekindle things back up and take me out on that date. You should have seen how fast I blocked that man. For what? So you see me and you see yourself and you think I'm gonna go on a date with you after you just came out of jail for scamming. Counts me out. One thing y'all need to know about me is that I am not a ride or die. If you do dumb shit and get caught, keep me out of it. I'm not gonna ride for you. In fact, I'm gonna ride the other way because I'm not doing that. I have seen too many women take the fall for their man or just go to jail for a man. That will never be me. ever. You dig, Chris? I don't know if I look like a ride or die, but I'm not a ride or die babe. Life is too short to be with a man who has to wear orange jumpsuits. I am so sorry. But he was doing all of that flexing to me, saying he's gonna take me out, da 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 da. And the whole time the money wasn't even his. It was just fast money. Like, it wasn't ethical or good money. And listen, I know the economy is messed up. Inflation, all that, like, that's not cute. But what's the point of scamming and doing all this to make money when you can't even enjoy your money? Like, it's really no point of doing that. I know it's not easy, like 9 to 5s, they don't pay well, but I just really don't see the purpose of making all this money and then you get caught and you can't even enjoy your money. If you have a differing opinion, let me know. I would love to kiki it up with you as well. Period. Anyways, the baddie aesthetic overall is just terrible for young girls. The fashion is too grown for teens to be embracing, and it just results in the over-sexualization of a young woman, and I am not with it. Some have argued that the baddie aesthetic is dying, while others have said it's well and it's alive. So whether it's dying or not, let's talk about the mess it has left behind. Part 3, the aftermath of the baddie culture. As with any cultural movement, the baddie culture has left a significant impact on society, especially the younger generation. While it has undoubtedly empowered many to embrace their confidence and individuality by wearing clothing and accessories that were once deemed ratchet and ghetto in the past, it has also had negative and complex consequences. The main girlies who used to proudly embrace the baddie aesthetic, such as Rihanna, Kylie, and Kim, don't embrace it anymore, but they still have influenced a generation of much younger baddies. So what's next? The aftermath of the baddie culture presents a mixed legacy. On one hand, it shattered outdated beauty standards, allowing women to reclaim and redefine what it means to be sexy and confident. To a certain extent though, because the baddie look was only praised on some people. Let's keep it a stack. And also, minors and teenagers do not need to be objectifying themselves, so let's stop praising that as well. But on the other hand of the baddie aesthetic, it also perpetuates a narrow definition of beauty that many felt compelled to adhere to, leading to a surge in cosmetic procedures and a focus on appearance over substance. One of the most significant impacts of the baddie culture is BBL culture. We have said this multiple times. As influencers and celebrities, and really ordinary people, showcase them getting these enhancements, they rapidly became more mainstream, creating a ripple effect among young women who felt pressure to modify their bodies to align with the baddie ideal as it was poppin' during this time. And I also want to mention too that women didn't just want a big booty, they wanted what came with the big booty. As I said before, a lot of these rappers, baby mamas, they were baddies and they had the BBL look. They looked really good, and it seemed like having a nice body and having that baddie look and having a BBL came with the lifestyle that a lot of these women have, such as Ari Fletcher, Jada Wada, and what's her name? India Rose? Is it India Rose? I forget her name, but Lil Durk's girl. Like, all of them, they have very luxurious, bougie lifestyles. So it was easy to equate having a big butt to having a lavish lifestyle. And even in these music videos, we see like the video vixens, they have the BBLs, they have the hourglass figure, they have it, and it looks like they're having the time of their lives, that they're getting paid well. So it's very easy to equate a big booty with a good lifestyle. So that's something that I also wanted to mention too. It's not necessarily the big butt they wanted, it's the lifestyle that they wanted. Now we're seeing a shift in the ideal body that was once considered the baddie look. Now being slim thick is what's in. Smaller booty is being more praised now, and I talked about this in my previous video where some people want to even reduce their surgeries or reverse it completely because having a big booty is not as trendy as it once was. And when I think of slim thick, I think of Megan Thee Stallion and Ice Spice as well, because they recently did lose some weight and a lot of people have been praising them for losing their weight. Some people I've seen criticize them for losing their butts or whatever, but most people have been saying that they look good, they look snatched, that they want to look skinny themselves as well. So they are getting praised, and I think it's also helping make the slim thick era like the new thing. But y'all, I've said this before and I'll say this again, our bodies are not meant to be cut up every 2.5 seconds when a new trend is arising. Like, y'all need to pipe down with that. Like, just because BBLs are trending, you get a BBL. Now BBL is not trending, you want to reverse it. Your body's not supposed to go through all of that changes. People are not considering the cost and also the recovery time too. Always being in pain and recovering from that, I don't know what that would do to your mental. So it's not something that we should be taking lightly. Don't feel the need to always chase the new trends, because girl, you're gonna be running for a long ass time. And as I said before, we have been left with 30-year-old teenagers. The girlies look way older than their age. And it's a problem. A lot of young girls and women have been on their quest to maintain a youthful baddie-like appearance, so they resort to cosmetic procedures like Botox and fillers far too early. Like, if you're 17, why are you getting filler? Why are you getting Botox? You are already young. Like, how young are you trying to look? But this trend does reflect a broader issue where altering one's appearance and body and face is seen as standard. It's seen as normal, and in fact, it's seen like it's expected now that these young girls should be doing this to look like a baddie or to look cute or just to be considered attractive. If you have small lips, you're expected to get lip filler. If you have, let's say, a flat booty, you're expected to get a BBL or a skinny BBL now. They call it a skinny BBL because a smaller booty. So yeah, you're expected to get a little lift now if you have a flat booty. While plastic surgery can be a personal choice and even a confidence booster, there has to be a limit. The risk of addiction to these procedures is so real. What starts as a desire to fix one perceived flaw, such as a nose job, can quickly spiral into an endless cycle of enhancements, boob jobs, butt lifts, tummy tucks, and liposuction, leaving people chasing an ever elusive standard of perfection because they are never satisfied with how they look. They have that idea in their head that they can always look better, and having this mindset is detrimental because you're really just going to be running for a very long time. Not only does plastic surgery age these women, but also their clothing choices, makeup choices, and hair choices. I mentioned Aya earlier in this video, and she 100% does dress way too mature for her age. My question is, where are her parents, her guardians? Is it anyone gonna step in and be like, hey, you don't have to do this, or this is just straight up inappropriate? Because I never blame the young girls for doing so. I'm mostly just looking at her guardians and her parents and like, where are the role models? Where are these people who should be guiding her down a different path? But I will say this, I have seen a lot of situations where the family doesn't come from a lot of money, but when these girls start posting themselves online and posting themselves suggestively, they start getting popularity, they start getting money, and then they become the breadwinner of the family. And then it becomes a thing where the parents don't say anything because the kid is bringing in most of the money. So they're just letting their kid do what they gotta do to make them have money. And this was evident with Malu Trevego. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong though. I know she's had some financial issues with her mother as well. Like, I don't know too much, but I do know like her mom asked her for money a lot. But it happened with Malu, also with Bad Baby as well. But I don't know Aya's family situation, but I just have a feeling it could be similar to that. They say money is the root of all evil, and in situations like this, it's hard not to agree. In the end, the baddie culture may have started as a form of empowerment, but its aftermath is complex and troubling. We must also recognize the importance of fostering self-love and self-acceptance, particularly among younger generations who are the most vulnerable to the pressures of social media and cultural trends. Instead of encouraging them to change who they are to fit a certain image, we should be promoting the idea that their worth is not defined by how closely they align themselves with a particular aesthetic, especially when that aesthetic over-sexualizes them and puts them in spaces that they should not be in. Despite the criticisms, the baddie culture has undoubtedly influenced future trends in fashion, beauty, and social media. As the baddie era continues to wane, it leaves behind a legacy that will continue to inform how we understand and navigate self-expression and identity in the digital age. Anyways, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, period. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. I'm super interested. And you can also check out other videos that are similar to this topic because there's just so much to say about this topic. You can't get it all in one video. Yeah, period. I'm gonna see you next time. You know the vibes. Bye.